incredible that tells you all that you need to know about the results of unfettered capitalism. All of us want to live long, happy, and productive lives. But in America today, the very rich live, on average, 15 years longer than the poorest Americans. In other words, the issue of unfettered capitalism is not just an academic debate. Poverty, economic distress, and despair are life-threatening issues for millions of working people in this country. While the rich get richer...
Shut him all. I would arrest him. You know, I believe in free speech, but when you stir up people to attack people in the streets, as this piece of garbage just did, do you have any idea what this demagogue Bernie Sanders is about? Do you think he's just a kindly old man who cares about poor? Do you understand what he just said? He is telling the masses of ignoramuses out there to go out and kill the rich. He is telling them to go out and attack them where they find them, to throw food in their face, to burglarize their homes, to vandalize their cars. But you know, Bernie, not only are you a demagogue and dangerous and you should be deported from America just as Emma Goldman was, oh yes, you should be deported for sedition for what you are doing in this country. But you're a liar on top of it all, as are all demagogues. You see, Bernie, I know that Fidel Castro, one of your heroes, outlived the Cuban peasants. Didn't he, you evil demagogue? Didn't he, Fidel Castro, in your Socialist Republic of Cuba, outlive the peasant? And what about your former KGB elite friends? Didn't they outlive the Soviet peasants? You evil hate monger, you. Do you understand how dangerous this man is? It's not that he is going to sway anyone with an IQ or anyone with a knowledge of history. It is that he is swaying hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of moronic millennials who are sleeping in their parents' basement, but they have the power to vote. In fact, one of them he created this creature called Occasional Cortex. She used to work for him. She espouses the same hatred for those better than herself. And yet he's up there now saying that capitalism kills. Again, I will repeat, what is he actually saying? That the rich are stealing their longevity from the poor, and therefore they should be killed, vandalized, beaten up in the streets? That's what he's saying. That's called class warfare. It's very dangerous to unleash a man of this nature onto an electorate. You may say people are smart enough to see it. I don't know if they're smart enough to see how evil this man actually is, who is, by the way, a rich man himself by any estimate. Through his hatred and through the publication of his evil books, just as Hitler sold Mein Kampf to the masses, Bernie Sanders has sold his books to the unwashed ignoramuses out there, again, by attacking the rich. He is the most evil and dangerous man in American political history by far. You say, well, what are you worried about? It's Biden we should worry about. Well, let's talk about Biden for a minute, because my main question of the day is this. Can Biden beat Trump? We know that the often Democrat Quinnipiac poll shows all Democrats beating Trump, which indicates that it's a false poll. But, the big but is there a chance that Biden could beat Trump, as these Democrat polls are indicating? Now, a Quinnipiac, I wish they changed the name to something else like the Maine poll. No one can pronounce the name of this poll, Quinnipiac. Why did they stick with a brand no one can read? Anyway, a Quinnipiac poll comes out saying Trump is trailing Biden and other Dem candidates for the elections. Another one says Trump's down double digits to Biden. Now, they were wrong in the 2016 election, both leading up to it, etc. But there is no question in my mind that the dynamics of this country have changed. They've changed dramatically since 2016, when Trump was fighting, when he was energetic, and he was laying out my agenda that we all supported. An agenda that he continually pushed on these airwaves was laid out in the many books that I had written prior to him running. So given that, let's say these polls are biased towards the Democrats. Do you still have an inkling, a little fear that Trump could be alienating the great middle? Never mind his base. His base is not going away. I am talking about the middle. I am talking about the undecided. I am not talking about the base. I am not talking about Republican diehards. I am talking about the vast middle undecided. Perhaps some of them are having second thoughts. Let's put it that way. The tweets that Trump makes do not have the same effect they once had. Many are unnecessary, and he uses them for petty things with no relationship to helping the American people. It's all about his ego. Number two, Trump's brash, abrasive personality, which was attractive initially because we were looking for a fighter, has kind of worn out and is quite thin. Yes, his base supports him because he still fights. But is he fighting for them, or is he fighting for his own narcissistic, egoistic reasons? We know Trump is solid with Republicans. We know he's solid with the beached whale and those who work for his brother's his brother's agency. That's fine. We know the beached whale and all those who kick up money to the cartel, the beached whale cartel, will always be for him. 3 hours a day of licking the boots, shoe polish on all the tongues. But the fact of the matter is, my audience is quite different than the shoe polish crowd. You are different. You are more of a thinking crowd. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know that our agenda has been advanced that much. I had an argument last night with a woman who voted for Trump. She has been a lifetime conservative. Voted for Trump, lifetime conservative. And here's what she said, and we argued. She said, I may vote for Biden just to get rid of Trump. I can't stand him anymore. I swear to God, that's what I was told. Now, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you this. It's a person I know who's very intelligent. And I'm asking, why is she saying that? She said, I was happy when he was out of the country because I didn't have to listen to him anymore. She's tired of hearing his bellicose speeches. She's tired of his pettiness. She's tired of his tweets. She's tired of everything being about him. She can't take it anymore. She, a woman, a lifetime Republican, grew up a Republican family, voted for Trump, telling me that? So I had an argument with her. And she said, tell me, what have the Republicans done for you recently? Tell me. She said, he is a Republican, isn't he? I said, yes. She said, well, tell me what a Republican has done for you going back to George Bush. You know, I couldn't think of one thing they've done. The borders are still broken wide open. What have they actually done? Then I'll hear about the judges. Oh, really? Oh, the judges? You mean like the judges we fought for who turned out to vote liberal? You mean like Kavanaugh? Like Roberts? All the ones we thought were going to vote straight Republican or straight conservative, rather? Winding up voting with the Dems? Tell me about that one. So what has actually changed? Well, I argued that the military is a better place right now. She said, prove it. I said, what do you mean prove it? Ask people in the military. There's a greater sense of pride. There's a greater sense of pride amongst the military. She said, are you sure of that? Or is that just PR coming out of Kelly Conway's office? You know, when I was pressed to tell her what has been achieved under this Republican administration, I didn't have many answers. I know as a Californian I'm paying higher taxes. That's all I know. That's all I know. I know I will never vote for a socialist Democrat, ever. I was once a social worker. I know what it leads to. I also studied the history of the Soviet Union. I know where these policies lead. I understand that Bernie Sanders is closer to what the Democrats actually believe, which is that anyone who does well in this society is evil. I understand the danger of that. But that does not mean that I don't see which way the wind blows. And the winds are shifting. They're shifting all right, and they may not be shifting in our favor. And either we adjust our sails and learn to go with the wind, or we'll wind up dead in the water. We cannot ignore the polls, even if they're Democrat polls. There is a chance Trump can lose. And looking at the alternatives, that should terrify you. He can lose because although you may like the tweets and the abrasiveness, they are not only wearing thin, but they're giving ammo to the enemy. The media and the left use these things constantly to highlight the negative, and it's wearing on even his most loyal supporters. Even his supporters don't want to hear it anymore. The enemy is winning by chipping away at Trump's support. And by chipping away at Trump, they're chipping away at us, and they're creating voter fatigue. The constant drip, drip, drip is wearing out the base because we feel like we're being attacked. It's like you're being waterboarded with bad information about Trump every day. So you say, well, it's not him, it's their fault. That's not the point. Meanwhile, we have a major crisis at the border. Yes, it is an invasion. Democrats are even admitting that it's an invasion. But Trump seems useless to get anything done about the surge of illegals coming over the border. This was a strength that the Dems are highlighting as a weakness for him now. Follow what I just said. Trump's original strength was saying he was going to stem the flow of illegal aliens. Now the Dems are saying he has not done so. They just don't want the illegals here for votes. No, no, no. They want the illegals here to keep coming in to show you how weak Trump actually is. So they will wear you out with that. And next they will come at you and him with impeachment. How much of that can you take before you say, I cannot take any of this anymore and I just want a relief from it all? I want anybody but him. I can't take it anymore. Do you understand? I'm not saying that that's the position that is correct. I'm telling you the emotional position of the people. And that leads us to the Republicans. What are they doing to help? What have they done to help you in your life? Why are they standing by as the battle is taken to Trump and to the average Eddie? We're told they're conservative. They're not. Now, you can point to the war on terror, but there have been attacks here under this president. Maybe not large-scale radical Islamic attacks, but Las Vegas happened, and it was a white guy with a machine gun in a Las Vegas hotel. Jews, innocent Jews, were killed at the Pittsburgh synagogue. Who did it? Not a Muslim. Not a Muslim. White guy with a handgun. San Diego synagogue shooting happened. Muslim, no. White guy. So we're talking about the border, national security, and the economy. The economy is 100% winner for him. But guess what? The polls show people don't give him credit for it. The border is a 0. You give him a report card, he gets 100 on the economy and a 0 on immigration. Did you hear what I just said? Look at the whole picture. Look at the whole picture. This is the fight of our lives. Not for his life, not for his ego, not for his narcissistic systems. It is for our lives. Because you see, it is not President Trump on the ballot. It is my and your agenda. And if we lose to one of these left-wing lunatics running for the Demon Cat nomination, it will be over for good this time. Because they have all been radicalized. They have been weaponized against the middle class, and they don't care about moderation anymore. The Democrats have been weaponized against the middle class, especially the white middle class, and they want to win at all costs, and the cost will be everything. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become very, very risky. Listen, according to the Secret War on Cash, a new Swiss America white paper I just read, it made my hair stand on end. You better be careful when you go to the bank. I learned why banks are now required to spy on you and I for the government. And then they report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. What does that mean? Get the Secret War on Cash now by calling 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. Did you know simply spending cash today is enough to get you branded as a potential criminal? You heard me. You better read The Secret War on Cash. It's free by calling 800-289-2646. The new war against cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. Find out how to survive and thrive by reading The Secret War on Cash. It's free if you call 800-289-2646 right now. Is losing by double digits to Biden and Bernie Sanders, which we know is rubbish. But the fact of the matter is, even if it's rubbish, we should ask the question, because no one is invincible. No one is invincible, and Trump has some negatives that have not gone away. And the other candidates, while they have enormous negatives, they've changed their game. Sanders is too demonic to change his communist rhetoric. Biden, on the other hand, stopped bashing white males. I have the tape, which I'll play in about 10 minutes on this show. When it originally came out, he was an occasional cortex with pants. He was using the far-left rhetoric attacking white males. I have the tapes. I'm running them right now through the election, over and over again. But notice that Biden suddenly stopped doing that. He got a new campaign advising team, and they said play the middle ground, don't attack, don't take Trump's bait. So Trump calls him stupid yesterday, attacks him like a schoolyard bully, and Biden wisely doesn't take the bait and doesn't answer in kind. This is what I'm talking about. The new strategy of Biden is worrisome because it's smart. He's very smart. His campaign is very smart right now. You could say he's dumb. You notice how all of you who used to say he's a groper stopped saying groper because that wasn't working. Now you're going to pick up what Trump said and say he's dumb. How do you know he's dumb? Because that's what you're told to think? He's dumb. He's been vice president for a number of years and senator. Is that he's dumb? I don't think he's so dumb. I think maybe the electorate is dumber than you may think. So I'm a little concerned here. I don't like the trends. I don't like the... You know what I don't like personally? I don't like that Trump has not really come up to the job in some ways, personality-wise. Now, look, I have the same brash personality as Trump. I want to be very clear about it, but I am a talk show host. I am not the leader of the free world. What I say on these airwaves is one thing, but if I were in public office, I certainly wouldn't say the same things that I'm saying on this radio show, because I'm then speaking to a whole different audience and the world. So what you have to do is modify your rhetoric, pull in your horns, as they say, and become presidential. But we have the same man who ran for office in 2016. Now, many of you think that's charming. Many of you love it. You like his bellicose ways. You like the vanity. You like the ego. You like the narcissism. You like the strutting. I understand that. But at a certain point, it starts to wear thin for people. And I'm worried that a lot of women in particular and those considered to be independents are not as in love with Trump as they were in 2016. That is what I am worried about. And the reason that I offer any questions at all is because I am not the beached whale. I do not have shoe polish on my soul. I do not know how to lick boots. I do not know how to carry water. The beached whale is getting me sicker by the day. The beached whale, 3 hours a day, is a PR machine for the president. It's actually sickening to listen to. I don't understand how this can go on. I don't know how an intelligent man can spend 3 hours of his every waking day licking the boots of any man on this earth. I do not understand it. And I start to wonder if this beached whale is not trying to destroy talk radio itself. The same man who raised up all ships with a rising tide, God bless him for that, I think is now sinking all ships. And I see the ratings. And let me tell you something, no matter what anyone is telling you, while CNN's ratings have collapsed, so have Fox's ratings collapsed. I have them in my hand. Yes, Fox News is down 25% compared to the same week last year. It's true CNN is down 55%, but Fox is down 25%. And if you think the beached whale is up this year, you have another guest coming. He is down from last year because the people can only take so much of the same thing every damn day. All right, summertime already. Okay, things change. What if a spring breaks on your car or a sensor goes out? What about if a simple check engine light comes on while your family and you're in your car? What if you're just going to work every day and it comes on? Well, it can mean thousands of bucks out of your pockets. And that's why you need Car Shield. If your car breaks down, they make the process of fixing it for a covered repair very easy. You can pick your own mechanic or have the dealership do the work, your choice. Car Shield also gives you 24/7 roadside assistance. They even give you a rental car for free. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, it does not mean you have to pay high repair bills. Car Shield administrators have paid out close to $2 billion in claims. They're the real McCoy. Don't let your check engine light change your life. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection. Call 800-CAR-6000, code SAVAGE. Or visit carshield.com, code SAVAGE, and you will save 10%. That is carshield.com, code SAVAGE, or call 800-CAR-6000, code SAVAGE. A deductible may apply.
In English common law, not codification law, common law, back in the late 1300s, so many women were dying at the hands of their husbands because they were a chattel, just like the cattle or the sheep, that the court of common law decided they had to do something about the extent of the death. So you know what they said? No man has a right to chastise his woman with a rod thicker than the circumference of his thumb. This is English jurisprudential culture, a white man's culture. It's got to change. It's got to change.
That was the racist lingo of Biden for March of 2019, attacking white males. He was identical to Occasional Cortex, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Omar, attacking whites. He had picked up the disease and the infection, and that was in March. But yet something has changed recently with Biden. He has new managers, new advisors. They told him to stop bashing white males, moron. A, because you're as white as the driven snow. B, because you need the white males to get elected, moron. And right now we're trying to make believe we don't hate them. So what you got to do, moron, is make believe you don't hate white males anymore. Start to sound like them, talk like them, walk like them, be Joe Sixpack. Tell them you came from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Tell them your father worked as a blue-collar guy. Joe, stop bashing white males. You're not Occasional Cortex. Okay, so he stopped. And even though you think he cannot beat Trump, I am asking you if he can beat Trump, given that he has new advisors who are steering him to the center rather than to the left. Remember, he's a politician. He will say whatever he needs to say he thinks will get him elected. In March, it was bashing white males. That was the flavor of the month. It was against white males. This month, it's saying nothing. They found out that him saying nothing is better than him saying something. And contrary to that, and I'm trying to tell you this, is that if Trump learned the same lesson, his poll numbers would go up. But he's not listening to me. He's listening to other people. Trump has to stop tweeting, and Trump should be seen less and heard less. The less we hear from Trump, the better. Not more, less. It's the old adage, less is more. He's got to become more stealthy and stop being the Trump that we elected in 2016, because we have changed, he has changed, the country has changed. Moreover, he has not delivered on many of his major core promises. And every time he speaks in a bellicose manner, we are reminded that he did not deliver on the border. He did not deliver on the border. Do you understand that that was the signature issue of Donald Trump, which was the border? His signature issue, I have the speeches going back, was close the border. We'll stop the illegals. You remember you idiots were chanting, build that wall, lock her up, build that wall, lock her up, build that wall, lock her up. Well, now the MAGA people are not chanting, build that wall anymore. You're not even chanting, build that speed bump. I don't hear you chanting, build that bump, build that bump, build that bump. You're not chanting anymore, are you? What are you chanting now? What are you chanting now? And those were positive statements, build that wall. What are the negatives now? Attacking Joe Biden, making a mockery of him the way you made a mockery of Hillary. I'm warning you, as his core base, that that is the wrong direction. He won because he had a positive message. He was going to save this country by stopping the flood of illegal aliens. Remember he talked about the contraband? Have we heard that recently? Remember we heard about the opioid epidemic? Have you heard about that recently? Where'd that go? All of the people addicted to the opioids have suddenly gotten better? What happened to that epidemic? It went away? So, things are not exactly perfect. I know he has enough enemies out there, and you're saying, how dare you criticize him? You're falling into the enemy camp. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm not a PR agent for Donald Trump. I never have been, and I never will be. I backed him for a year straight because I believed in him, and I will vote for him. However, that does not mean I worship him. And that does not mean that I work for him. That does not mean I have to say everything he does is perfect. No man is perfect. No man is perfect. Only God is perfect. I worship only God. I worship no man. All men are fallible. All humans will fail us. It goes back to Eve when she bit into the apple. All humans are fallible. That includes Donald Trump. And the fact of the matter is, to worship a man is a very dangerous thing in a democracy. In a republic such as ours, we are not supposed to worship a man. I said the same thing when Obama was president. I was resenting the worship. I don't like the worship of politicians. It is a very dangerous trend. And I'll tell you something else I don't like. And I'll say it right now, and I'll say it over and over again. The constant refrain of fake news is extremely dangerous. And let me explain why it's very dangerous. You want to hear why it's very dangerous? Because it could apply to our side of the aisle just as well. How much of what you hear on the right side of the aisle is fake news? Well, you don't know. You think it's all true? They're all false and we're all true? The way to defeat arguments is to actually argue with those presenting the arguments, not to say fake news. And if you don't have an argument to defeat the opposition, and all you do is revert back to a statement of fake news, you're not really winning the argument. It becomes a sort of witch hunt, the same kind of witch hunt is being applied to him. You can't attack all the news and call it fake news when it's all not fake news. That's absurd. And what happens is, if a Democrat should win, whether it be in the next election, God forbid, or after that, finally America shifts back the other way, and it will happen. Don't fool yourself. It's happening. It could happen as soon as 2020. It may happen in 2024. It happened during the congressional elections. If we start shifting to the left and they get power, more power than they have now, they will say that anyone on the right side is delivering fake news, and they will try to shut us down, as Twitter is doing, as Facebook is doing. as all of these other sites are doing under the dictators who run these sites. They will shut us down as sure as I'm sitting here. They will not need a fairness doctrine. They will simply need the power that they already have by saying it's fake news, we don't like it, we're closing it down. Google does it, Twitter does it, Facebook does it. They're out of control with their power. Of course, that's a separate story I talked about yesterday, which I'm not going to talk about today. But the minute you start saying that your opponents are delivering fake news without debating them, you are entering a twilight zone that we may never come out of. Do you understand this yet? Boy, I hope you do. All right, Raphael in El Paso, line 2. Raphael, thank you. You win a copy of A Savage Life. What's on your mind?
Greetings, Dr. Savage. I am calling from ground zero of the invasion that's taking place in America right now. We have illegal aliens coming out of the El Paso sewers, coming up through manholes. This is how they're getting through. I can only compare this to the barbarians at the gates when Rome fell, and we are in the same situation as Rome was in the past. And I just don't see the situation getting any better. Even with President Trump talking to the Mexican president, I don't think the situation is going to get better for America.
Neither do I, and I'm starting to come to the conclusion that both parties want the illegals here. That's the conclusion I have come to. I believe that the Republican powers that be have won and taken over the Trump campaign with regard to many issues, primarily illegal immigration, which has now been swept under the rug and we're supposed to just ignore it. Meanwhile, the cities are being overrun. Congo, people from the Congo in Africa with Ebola are now coming into America. You know that, don't you, right?
Yes, I'm aware of that, and they came through El Paso.
Do you know that there are hospitals that are overwhelmed? They cannot treat the Ebola cases that are coming in. You've got Africans with Ebola coming through the Mexican border. This is under Donald Trump. Now, what would happen if this was happening under Barack Obama? I want to know what the right wing would be saying now. I wonder what the conservatives would be saying now. I wonder what the beach whale and his acolytes would be saying now if this was happening under Obama. You can just imagine the screams and the yells. But we're hearing nothing from them. How come they themselves don't ever talk about the invasion?
You know, I think if this was happening under Barack Obama, I know this is going to sound weird, but there would more would be done to stop it.
Thank you.
It was happening.
That's why I think that we've been neutralized. I have a terrible feeling we've been neutralized by the Republican Party. The Republican Party, if you look back in the election under Jeb Bush, wanted these open borders, and they have it now. I believe that they have taken control of the Trump administration, and they're running it exactly as they would if Jeb Bush was in that White House. That is my opinion right now. I thank you, Raphael. Again, a copy of Savage Life. A Savage Life goes out to you. I know you're going to enjoy it. Let me take one quick call again. We're getting so many calls. Bill in Detroit, line 3. Go ahead. What's on your mind, Bill?
Dr. Savage, I appreciate the criticism of Trump, and I wish the beach whale cartel would lend some more of that criticism towards him, and then we might actually get some work done on the wall.
Thank you very much. Can I be the only voice of outrage left in conservative talk radio? Where the hell have all the others gone?
Exactly, but to your point of real progress being made, you're in California. I'm in Detroit. You know, I see the reinvestment into auto plants. I see my buddies who work in these auto plants are skilled trades. They're working 12 days a week or 12-hour days.
Thank God. He gets 110% on the economy, 110% on the economy. If I were grading him as a teacher, he gets an A+ on the economy. He gets an F on immigration. F on immigration, A+ on the economy. You want to go down the list? I'm keeping score. Are you?
Yep.
Well, thank you. Let me tell you something. Healthy criticism is the sign of a healthy democracy. And silence is the sign of a dictatorship. That's what people are worried about. More than mugging, more than terrorism, more than car theft, more than murder, more than the Democrats. People fear burglary. And what's crazy is only 1 in 5 homes have home security because most companies don't make it easy for you to have it. It's expensive. That's why I advertise Simply Safe, because they've transformed home security by breaking down these barriers to get you the best, most reliable, and comprehensive protection. I want you to visit simplysafesavage.com. You'll get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. You've got nothing to lose. That's simplysafesavage.com. Once again, No wires, no drilling, easy to order, prices fair and honest, around-the-clock monitoring, just $15 a month. That's simplysafesavage.com, simplysafesavage.com.
The president is literally an existential threat to America for three reasons.
All right, let's stop right there. See, now, when you hear words like existential threat, you know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. That was, again, written for him by somebody. Well, existential threat. What does that mean? It means nothing. It means nothing, but it sounds suddenly he's intellectually, way up there now. Existential threat. When Netanyahu said that Iran was an existential threat to Israel, he was telling the truth, because if Iran were to invade Israel with 3 million men, cannon fodder, over the border, it would be an existential threat. That's an existential threat. The Mexicans who are letting the folks from Central America, Guatemala, El Salvador, etc., come over our border, that's an existential threat. What do I mean by existential threat? We have an existential threat with the border being broken open. That's an existential threat. It means our existence is threatened. And if you don't see that, I'm sorry, you're not seeing reality. People write, hopefully the tide has not shifted as much as we may fear. Ari Eden continues, nevertheless, the lack of border enforcement and the Dems drawing up more hysteria and hatred among their psychotic base is concerning for sure. That's why we fear for the future of our once great nation. Then Hugh Pollock tweets, with the recent acceleration of censorship on social media, yes, absolutely, Trump could lose. Now, you think that Jack Dorsey at Twitter, Mark, whatever, I can't remember, Zuckerberg, and the other one at his company, Facebook, you think that they're just censoring people because they find it offensive? No, they're trying to swing the election towards a Democrat. And so since these platforms are a primary form of communication for millions upon millions of Americans today, the government needs to step in and make sure that these companies are immediately put under the banner of a federal agency that can monitor them in a fair manner, like the FCC. I've told you that before. It's not rocket science. You make Twitter and Facebook and the other outlets exactly what they are, the equivalent of a TV station or a radio station, and they become under the banner and controlled by and follow the rules of the FCC. Why haven't you seen that happen? Why have you not seen Google, Facebook, and Twitter put under the umbrella of the FCC, which can be done with the stroke of a pen? Why? Because they have so much money. They have bought as many congressmen as you can probably imagine. That's called lobbying. Congressmen are cheaper to buy than a woman of the night on Ellis Street in San Francisco, I hear. They cost less, and they last longer. That's how much a congressman costs to buy today. Less than a woman of the night on the cheapest street in your town. The woman of the night may be with you for 20 or 30 minutes. The congressman who you smear off is with you for a much longer time. You pay once, and you own them forever. And that is why there has been no move to grab these social network companies, which are bigger than most governments, and put them under the control of the Federal Communications Commission. Because the congressmen who are supposed to do their job are being done. In our language, in English. How dare you joke in Spanish? We don't like that foreign language in our country. Well, I heard that there are so many illegals pouring over the border, and apparently they're being given people meters the minute they come over the border. That I figured I may as well start doing the show partly in Spanish. If we hear that those from the Congo are being given people meters, this is a joke, of course, I'll start doing my show in French 20% of the time. It's so heavy. There's so many people coming over from the Congo now on our southern border that the Border Patrol is looking for French-speaking agents. I'm not making any of this up. Now, you don't want to hear it, of course, because you want to hear 100% good, 100% great, 100% wonderful, 100% better than Obama. And I understand it. Any criticism is considered anti-Trump right now. And, of course, after your brain is beaten up and turned into a donut all day long by the cartel, you can't take any criticism. You get mad at me. This is the way a dictatorship emerges. When the people are afraid to question authority, authority dominates the people. And I suppose that's just the way of the world, and I have no right to question authority at all. I should just simply get up here every day and go along with the program. So let me begin with the program, and I'll begin with the program by playing some sound bites. Now, the big topic of the day is Trump on foreign information. He gets into the car the bulletproof presidential limo with George Stephanopoulos, a well-known leftist operative. What did he expect would happen? I'm going to play it in a minute, but, you know, it leads to a broader question. Why is Trump being advised by Kellyanne Conway and the others around him to go into enemy territory, such as Stephanopoulos, and to ignore the audience that put him in the White House, namely you? Tell me why. Why would he rather take a chance with Stephanopoulos, who he knows is an enemy, who tripped him up, than talk to Michael Savage? Answer. You answer the question. So now let's listen to clip number 1 of George Stephanopoulos with the president.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
I think I'm going to go back to Spanish jokes. How about this one? Carlos visita un doctor. El doctor le pregunta, Carlos, ¿qué te trae por aquí? Carlos contesta, la ambulancia. I figured I may as well tell you some Spanish jokes. I studied Espanol para 7 años in Nueva York and then in college, so it's not hard for me to relearn some of it. You know, it is a language spoken by a good percentage of the world, incidentally. Wouldn't be so bad for you to learn a little bit of Spanish. Anyway, you could learn French if you like, if you want to speak to those from the Congo who are coming in. Let me go to the next soundbite. Again, anyone who gets on the show today gets a free copy of my forthcoming sort of semi-autobiography, A Savage Life. And, we found an interesting picture in there that I'm posting right now. I think it's up on michaelsavage.com of me as a young 15-year-old weightlifter. Where is that picture? I thought it was in... Oh, there it is. In the insert. These are great pictures, black and white. It says Michael 1957. Now, I'm saying this for a reason because it's going to be a challenge to all of my friends in the media. Why is it not up on my website yet, Karen? Hello, Karen. Get it up there. It should be there. Click here to purchase A Savage Life. Okay, I'm posting a picture of myself at age 15 where I'm flexing my right arm, my triceps and such, because I was heavily into gyms and weightlifting at that time at the American Health Studios. I was in fairly good shape, very wiry like Bruce Lee. You know, I look at the picture, I look like a young Bruce Lee there. I'm going to put out a challenge now. I challenge everyone else in conservative media to post a picture of themselves at age 15. And I want to vote on who you think is the most fit-looking one. That's all. Why am I doing this? Why? Because I'm so bored of politics, I'm ready to take things and burn them. I'm ready to burn my microphone. How much can I talk about this? Okay, I guess I'll keep doing it. It's all you want to hear about. So Trump's open to receiving foreign information on his 2020 opponent. Of course they all do it. We all know that. That's not a big deal. Didn't they all do it? Didn't Obama get foreign info on his opponents? Didn't Hillary receive foreign info on her opponents? Of course. So what's the big deal? It was a setup by Stephanopoulos. But why would Kellyanne Conway and the others tell Trump to go in the limousine with George Stephanopoulos, an ABC operative who hates him? Why? And why does he continue to ignore you, the savage audience? He'll be back, by the way. I will make a prediction that before the election, you will be hearing from Donald Trump. Oh, yeah. Once he realizes that the poll numbers may indicate he needs every vote he can get, including the people who voted for him who listen to this show, he'll be back. He'll be back. I'll be very good to him. I'm still going to vote for him. It's true the border is being overrun. There's no question about it. It's true the border is being overrun. It is absolutely true that the federal spending has gone insane. It soared past $3 trillion. That is not fake news. The deficit is out of control. That's not fake news. The debt is out of control. If Obama was doing this, you'd be screaming. You'd be rioting in the streets. The deficit is out of control. That used to be a big deal to conservatives. Even those who are not social conservatives, who said they're fiscal conservatives, should be alarmed at federal spending. But we don't hear one word because the cartel, the radio cartel, doesn't talk about it. To them, they see no evil, they hear no evil. And I will tell you something. If you're in a family and you cannot criticize someone in your family who you love very much, you're not being a good family member. Am I right, Jim? Doesn't a good family member criticize another family member when that family member is like going in the wrong direction? That's all I'm trying to say to you. How can you sit here goose-stepping? Yeah, 100%, yeah. Yeah, got to do that. Got to do that. So now let me play some other sound. We did that one. Here's another one. I'm doing something different. I'm going to play all the sound in the beginning. Here is a Democrat representative, Marsha Fudge. If ever you didn't know whether to vote for Donald Trump or a Democrat, all you got to do is listen to the Democrats, and you'll know why you have to vote for Donald Trump. It's that simple. You have no choice, okay? Here is Ohio Dem Rep Marsha Fudge, an African-American, by the way. Listen to what she says about you in clip 10.
It is glaringly apparent that many who support the present administration are either racist, steeped in religious beliefs, ignorant, or as my mother used to say, just plain dumb. I believe the crooked ascension of Trump to the Oval Office is a gauge that measures the declining patriotic and moral values of the many citizens of America.
I don't even have to comment on this. All I can say is what a shame that this woman is in Congress. But then again, what is Congress? What is Congress today when you take a look at the one in New York with the teeth, the half horse, half human, that girl? Or you look at the others, the bug-eye job from Southern California. But it doesn't get any better than this. Here's the communist Bernie Sanders, who's disguising himself as a Democrat socialist. There's no such thing, by the way. There is no such thing as a Democrat socialist. It's an invention. Bernie Sanders has long been a communist. He talks like a communist, walks like a communist, acts like a communist, consorted with communists, supported communists, lauded communists, kissed communist behinds his entire life, him and his wife, if you want to call her that. He yesterday got up at a speech and said that the rich live longer than the poor, like that's something new. And then I said, excuse me, Bernie, didn't the Castros outlive the peasants in the fields, moron? And didn't those of the Politburo in the Soviet Union outlive those working in the factories and fields of the Soviet Union, Bernie? What are you talking about? Of course the rich live longer. They take better care of themselves, you idiot. That's usually why they become rich, because they have better self-control. They don't drink as much. They don't smoke as much. They don't use as many drugs. They work harder. They study harder. They've always worked harder, usually. I don't mean the rich who inherited their money. I'm talking about those of us who worked for it. Here is Bernie Sanders telling you why you must never, ever vote for a Democrat as long as you live in clip 8.
We have a demagogue in the White House who, for cheap political gain, tells you all that you need to know about the results of unfettered capitalism. All of us want to live long, happy, and productive lives. But in America today, the very rich live, on average, 15 years longer than the poorest Americans. In other words, the issue of unfettered capitalism is not just an academic debate. Poverty, economic distress, and despair are life-threatening issues for millions. All right, you get the picture. All right, so you understand what this communist is doing. He's painting a target on anyone who's successful in America. He's encouraging the gutter trash to attack you if you dress well, walk well, speak well, drive well, if you have better shoes and a nicer-looking girlfriend than they do. He is telling them to attack you in the streets. Go ahead, vote for Bernie Sanders. Vote for Occasional Cortex. Vote for any Democrat, and you will see violence like you've never seen in your life. Now, that's not the beginning of the show, nor is it the end of the show. It even gets worse. Here is a guy I've not read in 20 years, George Will. I've always known what he was. George Will was I never was impressed by him. I understand the beached whale used to have lunch with him and respect him and look up to him and love him. Because George Will was a favorite of William F. Buckley Jr. I believe they go back to the National Review days when they were the deacons of the conservative church. George Will has long been something other than that. He says we need as much immigration as possible. That's George Will. Now, no one reads him anymore. I know he thinks he's important, but he's no longer important. Do we have time? No, don't play it. I'll take a break. I'll be right back. Where questions are not to be permitted at all that question anything that Donald Trump does. If you're a conservative, you cannot question him, even though you work to get him elected. You cannot ask a single question.
The true believers do not want to hear it. And in a certain way, I understand simple-minded people. I do. And if you think I'm putting you down, I'm not. I'm just trying to educate you. We're not living in a dictatorship. We don't live in North Korea. You know, in North Korea, when Kim Jong-un speaks, they have to keep clapping for a certain length of time, and whoever stops clapping first gets thrown into a piranha tank. That's what America seems to have become. On one side or the other, I'm not going along with the program. I've always been a creative, independent maverick. That is how I've been all my life, and I'm not about to change now. And I don't really care who the hell is in the White House, frankly. I never did. I was the first one to step out while the others were kissing his behind to get invited to the White House. And that includes your favorite radio hosts who were catering to him. When Bush was blowing the budget out of the water, I called Bush. I said, wait a minute now. Hold it. Bush is a fiscal socialist. Do you remember when I said that? When he was blowing the budget up? I said that. I was roundly criticized for it. Now I wake up. I helped elect who I thought was a businessman who was a fiscal conservative, and I see that the budget deficit is worse than it was under Obama. And you expect me to not report that? You expect me not to say the federal spending has gone past $3 trillion in this year already? That the deficit is out of control? Well, you have the wrong show. If you want to hear that the budget is fine, you're not listening to the right person. But you're also going to put your head in the sand, and I am not an ostrich. I am not an ostrich, and if you want to be an ostrich, I can't help you. It's that simple. But there are other topics. Let's take some calls. Scott in Georgia, line 1, you're up on the Savage Nation. You win a copy of A Savage Life. What's on your mind?
Cool. Yes, sir. It's an honor to talk to you, by the way. But anyhow, why wouldn't Mr. Donald Trump take any information he needed or wanted that company, say he was running the government, which he is. He's running a business. It's just like a business. People go out of when you. So
you're saying the big controversy of Trump telling Stepan all of us that he would accept foreign info on an opponent is okay, and I agree with you.
Great.
I actually don't care where it comes from.
Because
he said he would take the information and report it to the FBI, by the way. That was the whole statement, right?
Right. You should.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, you stay on the line. You're getting a free copy of A Savage Life. That's all. He says he would take it and call the FBI. He said, I've seen a lot of things in my life. I don't think in my whole life I've ever called the FBI. In my whole life, you don't call the FBI. He wouldn't call the FBI. Oh. He would just take it and wouldn't call the FBI. I see. So all of us stepped on him. He fell into the trap, and now he's in trouble again with the left. But look, whatever the guy does is wrong. So you can't expect Stephanopoulos to have done anything. But Stephanopoulos is the equivalent of the scorpion. You know, the old story of the frog asks the scorpion, right? The scorpion asks the frog. And what's crazy is that only 1 in 5 homes have home security. Only 1 in 5. That's why Simply Safe is transforming home security and getting you the best, most reliable, and comprehensive protection there is. You see, Simply Safe does something different. They protect every door, window, and room with 24/7 professional monitoring. You see, their police dispatch is faster because they use video verification. And Simply Safe has no contracts or hidden fees. Their system is designed to blend right into your home. No wires, no drilling. Easy to order, easy to set up, usually in under an hour. Prices are always fair and honest. Around-the-clock monitoring, just $15 a month. Visit simplysafesavage.com to get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. What have you got to lose? Nothing. Go now and be sure you go to simplysafesavage.com so they know that this show sent you. That's simplysafesavage.com. Simply Safe. 68% of respondents said they believe smart home devices listen to you when you aren't aware, and then they share the data with companies. And, according to another report, one tech giant employs thousands of people to listen to what people say in the recording proximity of their smart speaker. It's shocking. There are so many threats in today's connected world, and it just takes one weak link for criminals to get in. And when personal information is exposed, someone could use it to commit identity theft. Now, that is why LifeLock Identity Theft Protection has added the power of Norton Security. It's to help protect you against threats to your devices that you can't easily see or fix on your own. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock with Norton Security can see threats you might miss on your own. Go to LifeLock.com or call 1-800-LifeLock. Use promo code SAVAGE and you'll get 10% off your first year. You heard me right. That's LifeLock.com, promo code SAVAGE, or 1-800-LifeLock, promo code SAVAGE for 10% off. Listen to talk radio? Most retired guys are either listening to talk radio or they're watching their lawn sprinkler go back and forth. I don't know why you'd retire. What are you going to do in retirement? Hey, Mike, someone says, please tell Trump to stop going on those talk shows like talking to Stephanopoulos. He said he's putting his foot in his mouth. Twitter and social media are killing him on his continued tweets. Everyone now knows there was no collusion, he writes. Americans are sick and tired of this, and yet Trump continues to stick his feet in his mouth. That's what he said. I'm really enjoying the new format on your podcast. Thanks again for your years of service. I don't understand it either. I mean, I'm going to give Trump some advice, which will get up to him. The people who are blocking me from Trump are going to hear this right now again. This has happened before. I've been blocked before, and then when he sees me, his eyes light up. He loves me. And then he invites me over and we talk. And then he says, who blocked you? And I won't tell him. Because I really don't want to start an internal problem for him. So who's ever blocking me, tell Trump this. Here is how he can beat Biden handily. Because it's no guarantee right now. You can put your head in the sand, say, no, he can't win, the other guy can't win. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because Biden has very smart advisors right now. I said it to you yesterday. Biden did not take the bait when Trump called him dumb, stupid, mocked his brain cancer. I mean, come on now. Said he's stupid, crazy, mocked his brain cancer. Biden didn't fight back. Biden's being told, play slow and steady, steadying sail, calm. Let Trump keep attacking you. That's their new strategy. So instead of seeing the strategy, Trump continues to charge like a bull. And as a result, Trump's not looking good by attacking Biden. I'm just telling you how it's playing, not with you, the listener. You're the diehards. You'd go through the gates of hell with them. And I understand why. Because on the other side are the Bernie Sanders who would eat you alive and take everything from you. I understand how that works. But this is a much bigger world than just you, the listener of the Savage Nation, or you, the loyal Trumper. There's a much bigger electorate than that. And there's a wide swath of undecided voters who put him into the White House. A lot of them listen to this show because I am an independent. So let me continue again. I'll continue again. I'm going to try and use some of Bernie Sanders' sound mannerisms. I like some of them are good, very, very good technique. I will say it again. Why I'm telling Trump to do this, to stop the tweeting, because the tweeting is only alienating the women in the middle who do not like it. They do not find it very attractive. They find it to be incessantly narcissistic and very adolescent, to be very frank with you. And I would suggest clearly that he stop the tweeting immediately and take a vacation. He should be like a psychiatrist in New York and disappear for the month of August. Not be heard from for one straight month. His poll numbers will go right through the ceiling. That's what I would think. If Trump stopped for 1 month, his numbers would go up. But he can't stop. He has to stop. If he stopped it, and if he stopped attacking everybody in the vicious schoolyard manner, he is not a talk show host. That's what we do on radio. But he's not on radio. I keep saying it over and over again. What appealed during the campaign is not working right now. Things change, that's all. In addition, we have some problems in the country. Budget deficit out of control. Illegal immigration, notice it's been swept under the rug by the followers. They won't even talk about it. Why am I the only one left talking about illegal immigration? Well, borders, language, culture. I've been talking about it since 94. I voted and pushed Trump because he said he closed the border. Right now, you don't even hear it on any other. Maybe a few shows talk about it. Why have they all stopped talking about the flood of illegals coming in? The thousands being released coming out of sewers in El Paso. I had a caller yesterday on the show who said they're coming out of sewers in El Paso from Mexico, from tunnels. We're not supposed to say a word? Hush, hush, my darling. The only way we can get action is through action. We can't get action through inaction. So if you want to keep talking about petty stuff that doesn't mean anything to us, count me out. I still think that borders, language, and culture are the critical elements of a nation, and I do believe that a candidate who will close our borders, reassert English as the language of the land, especially in voting materials, and, again, laud the culture of America, will be the candidate who can easily sweep the election. You know, the biggest issue here is the illegal aliens and the voting of the illegal aliens. You know, don't tell me they all come here to work, because that would be a lie. You mean the 15-year-old girl with the 2 babies in the carriage? She's going to work? The babies are going to work? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not that naive. 855-400-7282 is the Savage Nation. What now? San Mateo. No, let's go to Illinois. Mike in Illinois, line 2, you're up on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Dr. Savage. Listen, I agree with you 100% about the budget deficit. It is out of control. Now, Trump knows it's out of control, and I know this because I was watching him in a White House meeting last year with GOP lawmakers, and he told one of them to support Rand Paul's penny plan. Now, the problem is, this is the only time he talks about it is behind closed doors. He hasn't talked about it at rallies.
Yeah, but what happened to the Freedom Caucus? The Freedom Caucus, why are they not talking about a budget deficit?
Because they're too busy defending Trump against the whole collusion narrative.
Yeah, but collusion's over. Everyone knows it's a fake narrative by now. The American people have left that behind. They know it's nonsense. And the Democrats are beating a dead horse with the collusion. No one believes Bug-Eye Schiff or the shifty lawyer from New York, the ticket fixer, the ex-fat man who cut 100 pounds of fat out of his body. No one believes him. They know collusion is a lie. We need someone to get the budget under control. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. But the thing is, there's not enough Freedom Caucus members. There's only like 40 of them. Even when Republicans had majority control, the rhinos would block them.
But wait a minute now. Hold on. I thought that all of us so-called conservatives cared about fiscal conservatism.
I do, but most of the Republicans are frauds, even the one that was in my district.
Well, hold on. We're not talking about the rhinos. That's too convenient. The president has the power over the purse as well. He can step in and say the budget's out of control, and I'm cutting 10% of all government, federal spending right now, across the board. I'm giving buyouts and I'm firing people. Why doesn't he do that?
You know, I remember...
All right, here we go again. Let me alienate more of my audience. Let me try to do it every day. And, you know, the truth, by the way, does hurt. The truth alienates people who are listening to you while lifting weights in the gym and want to just hear Mantovani music about Trump day and night. The same tune every day. Play Mantovani music. Don't raise any questions whatsoever. Okay? I'm going to raise another question. In one of my books, I said if I were advising the president, I would cut 10% of every department the first year, fire them across the board in every department in the federal government, with the exception of frontline combat troops. I also said I would raise the pay for frontline combat troops, not for everyone who works in the Pentagon, most of whom are just bureaucrats. You know that, don't you? No, work for the Pentagon. What does that mean? They're a paper pusher. They're working for contractors. No, I'm talking about the combat troops on the front lines. I'd raise their salaries immediately, and I'd cut 10% of the Pentagon immediately. So what's wrong with cutting federal employees? I don't understand. Where did that go? How did that go out the window? How about close the border? Let me raise another very difficult issue. Do you think Trump really wants to close the border is the first question. How can you ask such a sacrilegious question? I don't know. I'll ask it again. Do you think he really wants to close the border, or has the Better Business Bureau and the Jeb Bush wing of the Republican Party, frankly, taken over the White House with regard to domestic policy, and with regard to foreign policy have the globalists won, namely the walrus, who got us into Iraq with the lie about weapons of mass destruction? The only one who believed that was Sean Hannity. There were no weapons of mass destruction, but he used it as an excuse to bomb Iraq and bring us into a war with Saddam Hussein, which I predicted, by the way, would embolden Iran and create a greater Persia. I said that during the Iraq war. I'm on record with it in one of my books because no one sees foreign policy more clearly than I. I'm the clearest seeing foreign policy analyst in America. I don't care whether you agree with me or not. That's my opinion. I don't expect the world to agree with me. After all, I've not been anointed. I've not had my head patted. I am telling you that I said that by going to war with Iraq because the neocons under Bolton lied to the president at the time and said that the Iraqis had weapons of mass destruction, which they did not. As a result, we went to war in Iraq, and I said the only one who's going to win here is Iran by defeating Saddam Hussein. And I said, well, hold it now. You want him to continue doing what he's doing? No, I said, no. I said, weaken Saddam Hussein. Don't kill him and his sons. I said, do what the first Bush did. Bush number one, waged a limited war against Saddam Hussein, but he didn't decimate him. He did not destroy the Republican Guard. I said, do not do that. Don't take down all of Iraq based on false information being put out by neocons who want war in the Middle East. I'm on record with it. I wrote it, so I'll repeat it again. And you say, well, why are you talking about past history? Because I got to tell you about the past for you to understand the present. We're seeing the same story all over again. The same elements in the government then are in the government again. And they're misadvising the president, which is why 2 tankers went up in flames. Do you think possibly that we're provoking Iran? Is it possible that we're provoking Iran, not the other way around? Or that it's an equal provocation? And that maybe peace would be a smarter solution rather than war with Iran? Do you think it's going to be a cakewalk to permit the neocons to get us into a war with Iran? Well, not everyone in the defense establishment would agree with you, incidentally. In fact, an interesting article came out, which I did link up on my website, michaelsavage.com, that America is being warned it could lose a war with Iran. It's an extremely important story. U.S. warned it might lose the war with Iran. Even though we have a much more powerful army, Iran is 3 to 4 times larger than Iraq with a much larger population. Its terrain is like Afghanistan, ringed with mountains, not flat deserts where tanks could rain through the desert. They cannot run through the mountains. The Strait of Hormuz, narrow. Shipping channel, narrow. Ships can be attacked. That's why oil jumped today. So listen to me. War with Iran is counterproductive. It's not a smart move. And I know Trump knows that. But unfortunately, the Bush wing of the Republican Party is now running his domestic policy. It's identical to what Jeb Bush proposed. Open borders, I can tell you right now, and a runaway budget. So the Bush wing of the Republican Party is running the White House internally, domestic-wise. That's all. They don't care about social issues like LGBT. None of them do. All they care about is the things I just mentioned. Internationally, the very dangerous warmongering wing is running foreign policy. That's my opinion. I'll be right back. Long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, to expand the business, to go on vacation, to buy a new car, remember? But today, withdrawing your own cash has become very, very risky. Listen, according to The Secret War on Cash, a new Swiss America white paper I just read, it made my hair stand on end. You better be careful when you go to the bank. I learned why banks are now required to spy on you and I for the government. And then they report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. What does that mean? Get The Secret War on Cash now by calling 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. Did you know simply spending cash today is enough to get you branded as a potential criminal? You heard me. You better read The Secret War on Cash. It's free by calling 800-289-2646. The new war against cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. Find out how to survive and thrive by reading The Secret War on Cash. It's free if you call 800-289-2646 right now. You wish that double chin would just disappear. Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen. People, look at your jawline. It tells your age. Here's Robin from Lubbock, Texas. She says, I put Genucel jawline cream on my neck 2 or 3 days ago. This is the best my neck has looked in 20 years. People told me my face looks young. I'm blown away, she says. With Chamonix's MDL technology, Genucel's brand new jawline treatment specifically targets the delicate skin on the neck area for tight, healthy, younger-looking skin. You will see your mirror smile back at you or 100% of your money back, no questions asked. So call now, and the classic Genucel for bags and puffiness is free with your order. Just dial 800-SKIN-891. 800-SKIN-891. And to start feeling results in 12 hours or less, Genucel Immediate Effects is also yours free. No double chin, no turkey neck, and no sagging jawline, because no one needs to know your age. 800-SKIN-891 or Genucel.com. Get your 2 free gifts and free shipping now. Call 800-SKIN-891, 800-SKIN-891. And now, of course, fighter jet is taking off the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. And all of the warmongers are going to be very happy tonight. They're counting their shekels, their income. They're counting the income. The income's coming in. You know how good this is for the contractors? Do you have any idea how starved they are for the good old days of George Bush, when K Street was ringed by lobbyists working for contractors in the military-industrial complex? They never forgot the halcyon days. I hear halcyon is a medication of some kind, but halcyon comes from another word meaning something else, halcyon. But there are many in the White House now who are looking backwards back to those halcyon days, and they see them just around the corner. The military-industrial complex is licking their lips over the sinking, let's say putting the freighters on fire there. That's one of the stories. There are many. If you like war, why don't you go down to a recruiting station, put down your microphone and enlist. They take old men, too, even those on oxygen. They may find a place for you in the propaganda department that even with your I put up on the message board for you, and you can call on any one of them and win a free copy of A Savage Life out on, I don't know when, it's not for Father's Day. I heard out it's a week later, but whatever. Post Father's Day, which is sort of my semi-autobiographical short story list. Kardashian opening the jail doors. Do you agree or disagree? I vehemently disagree. How's that? I know I'm supposed to salute it. The Fishburger salutes it, so therefore I must salute it. No, it was a mistake. I'm sorry. Conservative values mean you do your sentence, you do your time. I oppose it. I also was sick in seeing Kardashian with the presidential seal in front of her. It nauseated me. When Trump did that, I said it's no different than Obama bringing in Al Sharpton. Same exact story. Sorry. I see things as they are. Next question. Is Iran a wag the dog scenario, or is Iran necessarily going to be bombed by America because Raytheon needs the business? Well, is Iran a wag the dog scenario real? Well, what's the evidence? Now, Mike, you don't know anything. Trump knows it all. He gets the information. You don't know nothing. How dare you even talk about things like that? Stick to what you know. Well, no, I'll stick to what you should, which is that the tanker owner himself, the company, the owner of the Kokuka Courageous, one of the 2 oil tankers targeted near the Strait of Hormuz, said today that sailors on board saw flying objects just before it was hit. They suggested the vessel was not damaged by mines. Okay. He denied any possibility of mines or torpedoes because the damage was above the ship's waterline. He called reports of the ships being hit by a mine false. Okay. Now, that's the Japanese owner of the Kokuka Courageous, one of the 2 oil tankers targeted. To me, it's a wag the dog job. End the story. Apparently, the forces within the administration that are internationalist or globalist, however you would like to put it, that is the old military-industrial complex, has been salivating for a new war because there's no business. There's no business like war business, I know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, in other words, we don't really have a war anymore, and you can't make any money without a war. So, and secondly, poll numbers go up. Look what it did for Clinton. Bombing a milk factory, it always works. Tanker owner seems to dispute it. So I would say, I'm not sure, but I don't think it's really Iran. I don't think they're that crazy. Next topic. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, has just forced the citizens of California to pay for illegal aliens' health care for those under the 18 to 29. You hear this? Now, take a guess who has to pay for it. It's a mandate that you pay a penalty if you live in California. All you good liberals, especially you millennial types, you're actually going to be forced to pay a penalty, meaning you're going to buy health care coverage to pay for the illegal aliens' health care. But go ahead, keep voting leftist. Go ahead. Next, Lenin's Pope wants a carbon tax. He's a pope like I'm a pope. He is a communist in a pope's robe. It's that simple. I've never seen anything like this. How can a pope be so political? When does he last mention the word God? I don't even think it's in his lexicon. All he knows about is global warming. Everything leftist is his business. Now, if you think this is enough for you for today, you're wrong. Today's the day I can do 6 hours of radio. Unfortunately, I don't have 6 hours. And again, the phone number here is 855-400-SAVAGE. And if you get on the show, you'll speak to more people or be heard by more people than you'll meet for the rest of your life, and you'll win a free copy of A Savage Life. Here are some of the things that I tweeted. I've been tweeting like crazy the last 24 hours. I got so mad at seeing Kardashian behind the presidential seal. I thought it debased the presidency. I thought it lowered the national dialogue. I got really livid with rage that someone who came to power on a sex tape is in front of the presidential seal. A porno star, in essence, who put out a lipstick line. And now she's opened the jail doors. You hear this? All right, this is the world we're living in. It's crazy. You don't know which way to turn anymore. Now, here are some of the other topics that I've been tweeting about. New York Repubs vote against vaccination bills, siding with small group of retrograde, anti-science, religious Jews who oppose measles vaccinations. Now, I realize that's a lot for the true believers out there. There are a lot of statements in that. You have to really have gone to at least the fourth grade to follow what I just said. When you're used to 2 or 3 word sound bites like good, bad, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. This is a complex one. This is not simply 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. This requires thought. Next, now Trump says he would report foreign interference to the FBI. Who explained this to him? I know you don't like that because you're convinced it was 6 dimensional chess and he outsmarted everyone. Well, if the Fishburger believes that, I don't. I think he made a big mistake. And someone finally said to him, no, you got to say you'd report it, even though he originally said he might or might not. Partly would have. He made a mistake. People make mistakes, which is why he's got to stop just talking out loud, and he's got to think things through and stop tweeting. And by the way, who's going to replace Sarah Sanders? And by the way, why do you think Sarah Sanders quit? If she quit. Why do you think she quit? You want my guess? You want my intuitive guess? And I'll never know if this is true, but I'm not going to tell you. Next one. Do you actually believe Iran would try to sink Japanese oil tankers when the Japanese ship owners themselves deny it was the Iranians? I already covered that. Next tweet, 2 hours ago. Do the warmongers want war with Iran at all costs? You betcha. Next one. Air Force One is the right color. Non-combat military planes are painted blue to indicate they are non-combat military planes. That is the same reason inert, non-functional weapons are painted blue. It's international code. It indicates to the whole world that this item is not a threat. I would like to see Air Force One remain the colors that they are. They're classy, they're beautiful, and they have a function. We don't have to change everything just because Donald Trump is in the White House. Next tweet, 30 minutes ago. Savage backed Trump 100% prior to the election. Look where the beached whale, Wallbanger, and the Fishburger stood at that time. Now, the reason I put that story up from March 30th, 2016, is because things have changed. The times they are changing. And the New York Times will be publishing the interview with Michael Savage on Tuesday. I honestly don't know how they're going to paint me or what the article's about. I mean, I opened myself up to this. I recognize I took a chance, but I'm the kind of guy who takes chances. And 3 of the most intelligent people on earth told me don't do the interview. 3 of the smartest people in the world told me not to do the interview. But I always do what I think is right. I have advisors. And 3 of them said don't do it. One of them vehemently fought with me for 2 straight days, but that's nothing new. Nevertheless, I decided to do the interview. So I did the New York Times interview a couple of hours one day. Next day, they sat in on a show. Photographer was there. I don't know how they're going to paint me, but I cautioned the reporter, and I'll tell you again. I said to the reporter, look, before you fly out from New York, let me be very clear. I'm not a Benedict Arnold to Donald Trump. I'm going to vote for him, and I'm going to support him. I want you to know that right up front. He said, I will not change your words. That's all I know so far. I don't know what else is in the article. Nor do I really know what picture they're going to run with. I know the photographer was underneath my desk. I don't know why he was shooting angles like from the bottom, making you look like Bela Lugosi probably. You know, when they shoot angles like that, you know they're going to make you look like a Bela Lugosi character. But I don't know which picture they're going to pick. Anyway, this is the Savage Nation. It's Rock and Roll Friday. 855-400-7282. I don't really know what's in the playlist of rock and roll today. I do know that we got some callers that are worth listening to, I guess. Oh, here we go. Peter in Connecticut actually heard a word I said. Hi, Peter. What's your topic on the Savage Nation on this Rock and Roll Friday?
Savage, we have the same problem in Connecticut that they're trying to do at the federal level. We're turning prisoners out of prison here like it's Sunday school.
And what happened?
One guy was out not more than a week, and he held up a store, killed a man with 3 kids.
Well, yeah, but that shouldn't affect Kardashian's thinking, since there is none.
Well, I don't know. It's not well thought of around here.
Well, no. Kardashian knows all. That's why she spoke in front of the presidential seal yesterday. Apparently, she's now a co-president for a day.
No.
Yeah, no. Ask the people who are victims of those released early from prison what they think about it.
They don't.
This is amazing. Turning to Kim Kardashian for domestic policy with regard to releasing prisoners. It made me. I got livid yesterday watching that.
I'm glad I didn't see it.
All right. You're winning a copy of what? What book are you winning? You name it, you gain it.
Short stories there, Doc.
All right. It's called A Savage Life. It's a good, clever title, but I don't care if you know the title. All I care is that you get a free copy. It is Rock and Roll Friday. The topics are many. The one I'd like to debate is the Iran thing, because many of you true believers actually believe we need to go to war with Iran because you're sitting at home on oxygen tanks or calling into a scumbag lawyer to do a class action lawsuit against someone over asbestos. If it was up to me, if I could do anything in my life before I left office, the office of the Savage Nation, you know what I would do? I would arrest every class action lawyer in the United States of America. I would seize all their assets, including the ones they hid with their mother in Boca Raton. I'd put them in jail for 5 years and make them clean toilets in Mexico. I'll be right back. T-shirt banned from a YMCA gym in Gibbs Harbor. Woman Donna Chakalos Peloquin went into a gym with my T-shirt, Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, which I'm not selling, by the way. I did it years ago. And they told her that the shirt has to be taken off. Now she sees rainbow flags, but no, you can't have liberalism mental. So again it happened. But that's not the big topic, nor is the color of Air Force One, which I think is fine the way it is. And the big topic really is, do the warmongers want war with Iran at all costs? To me, it's starting to get very worrisome, like another Clinton with the factory and the bomb. I don't like war. In fact, Donald Trump was backed by me for a number of reasons. The number one reason was he was anti-war. I thought businessmen don't like war, and they generally don't like war. It's very bad for the stock market, very bad for the stability of a nation to be at war. We had enough with Bush and the false flag attack on Iraq. How many men were killed? How many men were butchered? How many Iraqi civilians were killed unnecessarily by that false flag attack? And we thought we learned from that, but why are we going to war with Iran now? You know, this is not going to be a cakewalk. All of you armchair warriors cheering on anything military, you think that that's the right thing to do. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. War is bad for all living things, and Iran poses no threat to us whatsoever. No threat to us whatsoever, so far as I know. And if it's minor threats, such as Iranian agents in this country, we have a DHS and an FBI who should be investigating that instead of Donald Trump's tweets. So, no, we don't need to send troops to Iran or start bombing Iran with Tomahawk missiles because Raytheon needs their stock to go up. So I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I thought Trump would be smart enough to see through the world-class individuals who are around him now advising him. Why do you think Sarah Sanders so abruptly resigned yesterday? I think personally why it happened. Should I say it? I guess you rely upon me to think out loud. Since the president thinks out loud and gets into trouble for it, I think I'm going to think out loud. And I can only guess, but I have really great intuition. I've almost never been wrong. Ever in my 25 years. If I have been wrong with my intuitive guesses, when I found out I was wrong, I would admit it. So I'm going to throw it out there because it's a guess. She abruptly quit the same day that the porno star was allowed to speak in the Oval Office in front of the presidential seal. I think that they are connected. Now, Sarah Sanders has a wonderful father, doesn't she? His name is Huckabee. I think he's one of the finest men in the political world. Governor Huckabee's great. He has a great TV show. I've been on it with each of my books. He's a devout Christian who actually believes it. He doesn't fake it. He actually means it. So she's a devout Christian. I think she was offended at the thought of a porno hustler speaking in the Oval Office, number one. And there may be more to it than that, but I think she had had enough and just threw the towel in and left. I think she had had enough. I don't know. What's the topic you're calling about? 855-407-282. Jacksonville, Florida. Great audience. Line 4. What's on your mind, Tom? Go ahead, please.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, what's up?
Mr. Savage. I just wanted to say I think that I'm sorry, I got to get my thoughts together. I think that his replacement should be someone from the left who's actually a sort of an honest voice. And Alan Dershowitz, I've seen him on TV a lot, and he seems to be...
Well, replacement for who? For Donald Trump?
No, for the press secretary.
Alan Dershowitz is a fork-tongued liar, in my opinion. He always has been. He's a snake. He's a left-wing snake who made believe he was somewhat conservative to get onto Fox News and come on like he was Mr. Neutral. He's a snake. How could you believe a word that comes out of that lawyer's mouth?
I'm not really that into politics, but he always seems...
He's a snake in the grass. A snake in the grass. A horrible human being. I never trusted him. No, I wouldn't use him for anything. I don't know, maybe with the world the way it is, who knows where he could be. Tomorrow he could be Attorney General in the world that we're living in. Maybe they'll make Dershowitz Attorney General for being such a good fork-tonguer. Who knows? Maybe they can give him a can of shoe polish to go with the tongue. It's a long one at that. Okay, next caller. Texas, Chris, line 2. Topic, what is it? 30 seconds or less. What's on your mind, Chris?
I agree with you. I think Sarah Sanders was just tired, fed up. She's a mother of 3, for God's sake. And but she's got moxie. I love the way...
But do you think that she was offended at being forced to permit a porn star, which is all she has ever been, to appear in the Oval Office in front of the presidential seal?
You know, she was probably offended by a lot that went on. I don't know if that was...
Yeah, but it happened the same day that the porn star was ushered in front of the world to be seen. I was nauseated by it. All my red lights went off in my head. I said, this is impossible to believe. All right, you get a copy of A Savage Life because it is a savage life after all. What if a spring breaks on your car or a sensor goes out? What about if a simple check engine light comes on while your family and you're in your car? What if you're just going to work every day and it comes on? Well, it can mean thousands of bucks out of your pockets, and that's why you need Car Shield. If your car breaks down, they make the process of fixing it for a covered repair very easy. You can pick your own mechanic or have the dealership do the work, your choice. Car Shield also gives you 24/7 roadside assistance. They even give you a rental car for free. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, it does not mean you have to pay high repair bills. Car Shield administrators have paid out close to $2 billion in claims. They're the real McCoy. Don't let your check engine light change your life. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection. Call 800-CAR-6000, code SAVAGE. Or visit carshield.com, code SAVAGE, and you will save 10%. That is carshield.com, code SAVAGE, or call 800-CAR-6000, code SAVAGE. A deductible may apply. I can't believe that I was on the rifle team in a New York City high school. They had rifle teams in the basement. I tell it to a Mexican friend of mine. He can't believe it. He saw a picture of me with the rifle team, with the Mossberg 22, in my book, A Savage Life. And he said, that was you? He said, with a gun in a high school? I said, yeah, no one killed anyone. We didn't use drugs. He couldn't believe that there were 5 rifle teams in 5 New York City high schools when I was a kid. Look what they are today. It's drugs. It's got to do with drugs primarily. They're all on antidepressants, which make them violent. You talk about vaccines, you should be focused instead on Prozac-like compounds. Serotonin reuptake inhibitors are the most dangerous drugs ever invented. Because when the drug wears off, meaning when it can no longer prevent the serotonin from being taken up, and your body's screaming for more serotonin and can't produce it, people go berserk. They kill themselves or kill others. It's as dangerous as OxyContin, this class of drugs. And so, all right, you're not going to believe it because you didn't read it in the New York Times. One day you'll read it and say, you know, that talk show host, what was his name? He said that a long time ago. You know the guy who said borders, language, and culture? You know the guy who coined liberalism as a mental disorder? You know that guy. You know that guy, don't you? Okay, let's take some callers here on the Savage Nation. Everyone's a winner. Chris in Oregon, line 4, you're a winner. What's on your mind?
About millennials and the difficulty in their life. And he went on and on and on talking about how everything's easier. They have more TVs, more phones, more all of this stuff. And in essence, he missed the entire point, which is that...
What, you mean as usual?
...of soup.
You mean he missed the essence of the conversation as usual? Isn't that what you mean?
Correct.
Well, so what? You're a millennial, and what is your position?
My position is that our society has been eroded. It's been degenerated, and it's been done so merely because people didn't want to speak out. They didn't want to be called a racist, or they didn't want to be called this, that, or the other. They wanted their little gadgets, and they wanted them cheap, so they didn't mind buying the product from China. The very foundation of our society has eroded because people, the other generation, has let it happen for consumer goods, for cheapness, for the bowl of soup. They sold their birthright.
So what would your solution be as Mr. Millennial? We'll call you Mr. Millennial. What's your solution? Not buy anything from China?
Well, it's not specifically China. How do you reconstruct a society that's been completely destroyed?
Right, that's right. The society has been destroyed from within, and you could point fingers at an awful lot of individuals. Clinton permitted the export of many of our manufacturing plants. Do you know that the Chinese moved entire manufacturing plants out of the Midwest to China when they were rebuilding? And it should have been stopped. There are so many things that I know that confirm what you're saying. But how do we go back now that the barn door has been opened?
That's the question. I don't know that we can. And that's
so now wait, you're a millennial guy. You're blaming the boomers for the destruction of America. You mean morally as well as ethically, correct?
Essentially morally. More morally than anything else. They sold their morals out for consumer goods. This is
well, that's very interesting. Now that observation is keen, very keen. You're a millennial who resents the boomers for being degenerates, in other words.
Absolutely.
You're saying they're social retrogrades, they're moral retrogrades, they are certainly environmental retrogrades, aren't they?
Indeed.
When have you last heard anyone of my generation, or anyone within 20 years of my generation, stand up for the animals of this earth and the earth itself? Do you know anyone who does it but me?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm a unique individual, and I tried my best to get the president to act on this issue. He was interested initially, as were his advisors, Ivanka and Jared. They were also very interested, but we got nowhere with it. It was one of the greatest disappointments of my life. I actually thought we were going to do something to protect the wildlife of America, the lands and waters and places of America. But unfortunately, the powers that like to pollute for profit won. Do you know that? Yeah, well, I know that. Where are you? Is he still there, the Lyft driver? Or he left? He got arrested on the way? I think he's gone. Well, we were going to give him a book, but maybe he just got booked instead. I don't know. Maybe they booked him instead of giving him a book. No, the environmental thing is such a heartbreaker to me. I thought I'd make a real difference. For 40 years, I've worked so hard on conservation issues. I've written books on it. I've lobbied for it. I've saved lands for it. My botanical collections are in 7 museums around the world. I know that you don't want to hear that because it validates me as a scientist, but you're going to hear it because long after talk radio is gone, long after many of the people you know of are gone, my plant collections will be existing in museums around the world, which is very intriguing. That's why I always liked science. It's long-lasting, and it's kind of eternal. It has an eternal quality to it. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, it's falling on deaf ears. Most of you only want to hear the word Trump. So your ears perked up. The minute I said Trump, your ears perked up. You're about to touch the dial. And your hand's shaking right now. You're about to hit the button to listen to someone say Trump. How about if I say Mueller or Steele Report or Dossier? You'll listen even longer. But I'm not going to talk about this insanity anymore. I've had enough of it. In fact, I made a strategic decision this morning. In order for me to stay in radio at all, because I love this medium, and the only one who's going to throw this switch on me is God. And the only way for me to stay in this business is to pretend Donald Trump is not president. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't say I wish he wasn't. The only way to do this is to make believe Donald Trump is not president and be as objective as possible about policies that this government conducts. So that you're not saying, well, how, let me filter that through, do I want to be invited to Mar-a-Lago for an ice cream sundae? Wait a minute. Let me filter that because I want to be patted on the head. Don't filter it. Just look at the issue. We're talking about everything under the sun except the reason Donald Trump won, which is the border. He has basically given us open borders, has he not? Now, maybe this will be fixed before the election. But at that point, what difference will it make? Tell me what difference it will make if they build a wall or a piece of a wall before 2020. The barn door has been swung open. What was done under Obama is now on steroids being done under Trump. Explain that to me, would you please? Go ahead, explain it to me. Justify it. Go ahead and rationalize it if you want. Go tell me that immigration was the number one reason that Trump won. Why are we ignoring that? Why are we talking about every other nonsensical issue under the sun except open borders? How? How is that even possible? Go explain it to me, would you please? All right, that's all. Who's this? Sees what Mrs. S... Oh, that's a funny one. Who is this? I got to take this one. Line 1, Miss J.C., are you a woman or a man?
Woman.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. So what's your call about?
Well, I just want to say muscle men were never my type, but I can really see what Mrs. S saw in you if she knew you from the photo you put on.
Oh, you went on michaelsavage.com where I posted a picture of me at age 15?
Every morning.
Yeah, no, I looked at that picture and I thought very carefully, do I really want to post it and juxtapose it next to me as I am now, as an older man, on the cover? And I said, well, some of it's about me as a kid, some as a teenager. And I found this one, and it's in the book, Michael Savage in 1957, wearing a muscle T-shirt. I must have had a 22-inch waist. I was not a muscle man per se. I was built like Bruce Lee, a slim, wiry type. Am I correct?
You know what? Yes, but I really like for today, a picture of you today. I loved you at your desk in your home when the people were interviewing you, pictured from the right side in a jacket.
Oh, the one that's the general picture of me with the eyeglasses on at the microphone.
But your hand was positioned in such a wonderful way. The whole thing. I love that photo. You have to use that one somewhere.
I have a conductor's hand. I know that.
So,
well, okay, JC, that's a funny call. I mean, I didn't think that women actually saw that picture of me at age 15. But, you know, age and gravity catches up. Time and gravity catches up with all of us, JC, doesn't it?
give up on President Trump, please. He still rings.
I didn't give up on him, but I'm going to be as critical of him as I would if he was someone else. How's that?
I know, but...
Why must I sit here like a stooge licking the boots of a president? Tell me. Where is it written that that's my requirement?
It's not, but he's still...
I have called balls and strikes all along because I'm the fairest umpire in talk radio. Have I been punished for it? You betcha. Have I been excommunicated for it? Yes, I have. Will I continue doing so? I hope so. How's that? Oh. JC, you win a copy of A Savage Life with me as an angry old man on the on the cover. I don't really look angry on the cover. When you look at it on michaelsavage.com, you see a reflective man looking back upon his life with a certain his lips, the picture of this man, I'm objectively looking at it. His lips are curled at what he has seen in his life. And it's like, oh, God. And the eyes are very luminous. The prophetic eyes includes exclusive, never before published material, whatever. Well, here we are. What would you like to talk about? Sarah Sanders, the war coming with Iran, the repainting of Air Force One. That was a nice call. See what Mrs. S saw in that pic. No, we didn't know each other in 1957. I don't think she was born yet. No, she was born. No, we didn't know each other then. I was a kid. I don't even know where that was taken. Oh, I know. Backyard, Queens, New York, attached house. That's a cherry tree. That's like the Cherry Orchard by Chekhov. Another reference that no one even knows what I'm talking about. They don't know who Chekhov is. They only know what a check is from the parents. I make references. Here's the problem. Someone said to me, Savage, you have such an eclectic background. You've been through so many wars, so many battles. You know culture. You know the arts. You know poetry. You know the environment. You know science. You've read so many thousands of books. Your references are too smart for the room, Savage. Can't you notch it down to a few sound bites and be like the fishmonger? I said, no, I cannot. Clint, it's time to take a quick break. And if you survive that 4 free drinks, you get another 4 free drinks the next day. Or you could use it for antifreeze for your car when you go home. Welcome back to the Savage Nation. Guess we're not supposed to say humorous things about that, but Would you go to the Dominican Republic on vacation right now? Are you kidding me? What is this, some nut putting, like, antifreeze into the minibar to steal money? Wow. First of all, did you see the minibar that they're using? I saw a picture of it. Normally in a minibar, you get single shots in a bottle that are sealed, right? Not here. Oh, no, not in the DR. There they have the bottle upside down like the quart bottle that they fill themselves. Can you imagine? Who would ever use a thing like that? Would you take a drink from a quart bottle upside down? Like with a racetrack shot? Are you nuts? Anyway, I wouldn't go there on a vacation. In fact, I go nowhere on vacation. That's the safest thing to do, is go nowhere on vacation. Then you can't be disappointed. So we are talking about why Sanders quit. You know, another thought came to me during the break. First, I said I think she abruptly quit because she was forced to permit the porno star to appear in the Oval Office and give a speech on prison reform. You hear? But to speak in front of the presidential seal is one of the most grotesque images I've ever seen in my life. I never thought I'd see the day that someone of that low caliber would be in front of the presidential seal. I almost threw up. But that may not be the reason. I have another suspicion. You ready for it? Maybe she was forced out because she was not my friend. Don't get me wrong. I say good things about her, but she's the one blocking me from the president coming on this show. Believe me, she made all the decisions whose show he went on. So don't think that I like her that much. I'm just giving an objective opinion. I think that she forced the president to go on an interview with Stephanopoulos. She figured it'd be good for him to sit with that snake. And it backfired on him. It was one of the worst interviews he could possibly have done. Who exposes a president to a snake like that, who you know is going to set him up, which he did, and he embarrassed the president. It's coming out this Sunday. But if you listen to any of that tape, and the president already tweeted against him, calling him a name. I think that may be the reason Trump threw her out. That's the second thought I had. Look, I think out loud. That's who I am. I'll be right back. Be here or be nowhere.